let's take some questions on a hot topic that's going on in my channel right now, which is transfer for bachelors. So, yeah,
this is really a tough situation. So, if you're going to transfer, tip number one, transfer as early as possible.
Right.
So when each program, besides the university overall being accredited, different academic programs have individual accreditation that makes UMKC a strong university. So a lot of universities could have engineering degrees, but
yes.
Within engineering, there is something called ABET certification, yes. ABET.
Yes.
And in business, another certification
okay.
for business schools. So in the whole world, there's only 5 to 10% of business schools that have this certification. One
right.
of the things that makes UMKC strong is that our programs are additionally accredited through these third parties. And so for the business accreditation or the computer and engineering accreditation, if you are attending a university at home that is not accredited, then we can't accept those credits. This is a little bit complicated, so
yeah.
I'm going to go slowly. So
yeah.
let's say in the first year of your studies in India, you take just general like calculus or algebra or physics or those sorts of things.
Yes.
Those are general sciences and maths that are not within the engineering field. There is potential that those could transfer, but the problem is
yes.
with cultural differences, our logic is different and our organization and thinking is different. So
yes.
what you say is physics 1 and it contains these 10 basic concepts, but in the American culture with our different logic, it might have 5 of those and 5 others. So then your physics 1 might not include everything that an American physics 1 is going to include. So even though you took physics 1 and you've got that, it might not transfer to replace our physics 1. This is one thing that comes up a lot with the sciences, that just that logic of how we organize and how we think is different, especially between the East and the West.
Yes.
So that you might not have gotten everything that is included in our physics 1. So you might not get transfer credit for something like that. Another thing that's really different in American degree programs, we have a lot of what we call general education courses. We call them gen eds. Mm-hmm. So besides your engineering or computers or whatever, you're also taking history yes. and literature and government and social classes and things like that. So yes. if you have studied 2 or 3 years at home and you've gotten all of these math, science, engineering things done, you come here and your first year, the only thing you're doing is history and,
yes.
literature and social studies and government and things like that. Is this right?
Yes.
So that when you come to the U.S., you might have already fulfilled all of the math, science, and engineering requirements, and you get here and you don't do any computer science courses because you have to fill your history courses in.
Yes.
So this is why I'm saying, and this is why I'm saying if you're going to transfer early, because yes. a lot of the things that you're taking at home are not going to transfer to us. And again, to reiterate, things like the engineering courses, even if you took the exact same course, even if it's the same concept, mm-hmm. if it's not ABET certified university, even if it's the same content, we cannot accept that credit because we would lose our ABET certification.
Oh, okay.
So that's one thing. The other thing to understand is credit hours. So in the US at the bachelor's level, we consider one semester to be 15 credit hours.
Yes.
Every country in the world has a different concept of credit hours. So you might take 25 or 30 credits, and so in that case, every credit that you took in India would be considered maybe a half credit here. So if
okay.
you have like a 5 credit science course, but you did 30 credits in a semester, we would consider that 5 credits to be 2.5.
Okay.
And one thing that this causes a little bit of trouble at most of our classes are 3 credits.
Yes.
So if we're only giving you 2.5 credits, you got credit for physics 1.
But it is a half
it's
credit.
It's 2.5 credits, and so you still have a half credit off. So there's so many complexities. There are so many complexities. There's reasons for them, and from the student perspective, it doesn't always make sense. It doesn't always seem reasonable. A lot of the things are based on education law, and we have to satisfy the education laws to remain a university and to keep our accreditation. So a lot of things we're doing are not necessarily the university itself picking and choosing or saying yes and no.
Yes.
It's we have to abide by the Board of Education to make sure we're meeting those requirements. There's the law, and then there's the accreditation bodies, which includes the entire university. It includes the individual academic programs. It's really complex. It's also not fast. So first thing we do is we wait for your final official transcript. So you can apply and be admitted without your last semester transcript, but you're not going to get that transfer credit information.
Yes.
And then we have somebody who's responsible for international transfer credit. He makes a draft of a recommendation for how credit will transfer. And then he sends that to the professor. So if it is Calculus 1, he'll send his recommendation to the Calculus 1 professor, and that professor will say yes or no.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, and then, so it's a little bit of a process. It's unusual for transfer students to know before their first semester what transfer credit they're getting. It takes some time. We do our best, but because every class is a different professor, that means we have to follow up with every professor. Can you please reply to us about this class? So it is definitely complicated. We do it.
So first of all, I just wanted to ask, like, except from VIT, what are the other universities that are actually coming into UMKC, if there are any? And then what are the universities that you have at UMKC that you guys have a partnership with or a MOU signed with? What are those?
So we actually got a few new MOUs signed right before COVID. So then
nice.
mostly nothing happened with them because of COVID. DIT, we've had one student. Again, we had that first student come and COVID hit. So we didn't get anyone else after that. The other thing about COVID is we were never able to go travel back to those universities to make a presentation. So our recruitment has just fallen off because of that and the students' ability to come. There's actually another university that we had a transfer student that it turned out really well, and I'm just off the top of my head, I'm not remembering the name of that university.
Okay.
VIT is definitely our best and most active, and the others are just not constantly every year coming. And a lot of that was we were just finalizing those agreements, and COVID hit, and so VIT is an old one that we're really thankful for. Well established, and we're always really happy for those students. The other ones have just been one-off, and DIT, and I'm sorry, I can't remember.
Okay, general courses. So I think the final recommendation is if your university has an ABET accreditation, drop an email to their office and then they'll be able to help you. If it doesn't have an ABET accreditation, and if you're still in your second or third year, you have to understand that things are a little bit complicated. And then, if you're from like other universities in general in India without any accreditation, move as fast as possible. Maybe right after your first year is your best bet. Right?
I have three things on my mind I want to say.
Okay, please go ahead. Yeah.
The business accreditation is AACSB.
Okay.
So I recalled that. A couple other things about applying to UMKC. Something that we have a lot of confusion about is the type of documents, so the academic records.
Yes.
So first of all, we require individual mark sheets, and we look at all backlogs.
Right.
So we recognize that there are very, very small number of universities in India that do not offer individual mark sheets, but this is just a very small number.
Yes.
Recently somebody was like, Julie, you don't understand the Indian education system. Well, actually, I have literally admitted thousands of Indian students. So I have a lot of experience. And so I am aware, like if I've already had 20 or 100 or 200 students from your same university issuing individual mark sheets, there's a way to get them. So when you apply, everything can be uploaded online. We can use the scans of your documents.
Yeah.
Everything is uploaded online, and then when you come, you can bring official documents. And this is so confusing. What does official mean to Americans? Basically, to an American university, if you are the student giving me your documents, it's not official. Period. So if you upload it, it is not official.
Yeah.
If you are bringing me just loose documents,
It's not official.
it's not official. Things like words like original, that doesn't mean anything in the U.S. education system. My academic records as an American, it's not about the piece of paper. There's an electronic version out there somewhere. Anytime I apply to a university or I apply for a job, I have to ask the university to electronically send my records to the job that's looking to hire me or to the university that's looking to admit me.
Yes.
So that comes directly. So since most of our records are held electronically, we don't talk about the original. It doesn't matter because your records are your records, whether it's the first time it was physically printed out or it's the 15th time, it's still the same records. So what we're looking for, in general, we have required a sealed envelope that has the stamp or signature of the university. We're finding out now that more universities are offering online verification, which is very helpful for us.
That's really
so
nice.
We're just starting to learn about these different universities. So we're going to improve our services to where if you upload something that we consider unofficial because you uploaded it, we can look on your university website, and if we're able to verify it on your university's website, then we will never need a paper copy. Because we accept the electronic verification. So, for example, Githam University, they have an online verification so that I could check your mark sheets online, and I can verify that they are valid. You never have to show me a piece of paper.
Right.
Because I've got that directly from your university. So we are just currently in the process of learning more about these online verifications. So we previously told students we need them in an envelope, sealed, stamped, whatever. But if we can verify them online, so things like original documents, that's not something that we ask for or look for. Attested copies, even if they're an attested copy, but you're just handing them to me loosely, then that's not official. So just the idea, make sure before you come to the U.S. you understand what we are saying when we mean official. Also, believe us when we say individual mark sheets, because we'll keep asking for those. Consolidated mark sheets is not something that we're looking for. The degree certificate, and again, if we ask for a degree certificate and you just graduated this year, the provisional degree certificate is fine. And then also, you don't have to wait until you're graduated to apply. So if you're in your final year of your BTech or whatever bachelor's degree, we can process your application with 6 semesters mark sheets.
Nice.
So if we're asking for something and you don't understand it, reply to our email and ask for clarification of what we're asking for. So yeah, the degree certificate, provisional degree certificates work. And then our policy is to allow you 1 semester to study on unofficial records. So you can enroll for your first semester with unofficial documents, but you cannot enroll for a second semester until you have satisfied us with official records in some way, which could be electronically or paper sealed in an envelope. One thing about School of Computing and Engineering, this is really good news. So they have waived the GRE for all.
I was about to ask that.
All graduate students in School of Computing and Engineering, and the reason is that there is not clear and consistent research showing a correlation between GRE scores and academic success.
The question that I wanted to ask is, like, I know that GRE has been waived for the fall, and then does it in any way affect the DESA scholarship?
No.
No? Okay, that's good. And then the second thing is, like, okay, people know that the GRE is waived for the fall, and then they also kind of know that it's going to be waived for the spring. And what about the future? What about the fall 2022? They're concerned about that.
This is a good question, and we're saying it's waived indefinitely. We expect it to stay waived. If we find out for some reason that all these students are coming in and they're not able to be successful, then we're going to go back and look at that again. The default answer is it's waived. if there's a problem, we'll go back and reconsider it. And UMKC is not the only university that's doing this.
Yes.
It's becoming a thing because really there isn't good research to show that if you get a lesser score on the GRE, you can't be successful in the graduate program. And the GRE, I took it for my PhD program. I had to take the GRE. And it was more about test taking strategy and kind of knowing the tricks of the test rather than the actual math. I took the quantitative section. I'm not good at math. I've been an English major all my life, and I actually tested in the 51st percentile because I'm good at test taking strategies, and I got a training program that taught me GRE test taking strategies. It's not because I'm that good at math. I'm not better than half the world in math, but the GRE is not absolutely the best indicator of you're able to be successful. And then the other thing I want to say for India, the School of Computing and Engineering is also waiving the TOEFL and IELTS.
Oh, really? When did this start?
So here's what happened. I told you that I've admitted thousands of Indian students. And what we used to do is hold up the application for that TOEFL or IELTS scores, and students were sometimes getting them in the late spring or even in the summer. And by the time we would admit them, it's hard to get a visa. And it turns out that in several years of admitting Indian students, I had one that wasn't able to get the qualifying IELTS score.
Okay.
So I would be delaying that I-20 for weeks or months for a qualifying score, but I would always get that qualifying score. So to us, based on our extensive experience with Indian students applying for master's degree, and this is not true for bachelors. Bachelors still have to have it. Master's and doctoral students, you've already done your bachelor's degree in English, you are able to have that test score. We didn't see why we should delay your I-20s, but also complicate my work as I'm sending 100 emails saying, where's your IELTS, where's your IELTS, where's your IELTS, right? It's not good for you, it's not good for me. And in the end, like I said, in over 5 years, I only had one student that didn't end up getting the score. So those of the students who are applying to UMKC are getting the score they need. And so this is, again, by default, this is indefinite. We will continue waiving it. If it turns out that we get a bunch of students who don't have the language level they need, we'll go back and add that in.
But for now, did this happen for the fall? Did you guys?
Yes, that's true for the fall.
Oh, okay.
It's not an old policy. It's a fairly new policy.
Okay.
You should have kept in touch with me. We lost touch for a year or two.
I thought the IELTS and everything was still existent. So
this is for the School of Computing and Engineering. It's not for all other schools. And the reason is, School of Computing and Engineering has thousands of Indian students, and we have the number of students to be confident to make that judgment call.
Yeah.
Other academic units have a lot fewer Indians, and so they don't have the confidence that they've got the numbers to back it up.
Yeah.
So they're still requesting those. So we definitely have updated our English proficiency requirements from when you applied. So we're trying to improve them and add more tests and legitimate options as we can. So bachelor students still need the English test score, and then master's and doctoral students from India do not need any English test score to be admitted to UMKC's School of Computing and Engineering. For other majors, yes, you do need those.
Okay. And I missed a question when you talked about business schools. So in UMKC, are there any master's or MBA programs where the MBA major is in STEM degree so that they can make use of STEM OPT? That's one of hard question people ask. So I know from other universities there are people offering STEM based MBA. So in UMKC, is it there or no? I don't know. I just wanted to ask this.
This is something I don't know the answer to because I just got promoted. So ask me about SCE. I mean, I can tell you in my sleep. I don't think so. I think the answer is no.
Okay.
But I can't guarantee that. Sorry.
So I have this burning question from a lot of people and me as well. I don't really recommend this. So basically, a lot of people who are trying to get into US universities from India, especially from Telugu states where I belong to, they actually go to some consultancies in Hyderabad to actually put out an application to the university and then try to get an admission. So what is your view on this generally, and then what is your stand on this regarding UMKC? Yeah.
I feel like we could make a whole video about emails. I want to talk a little bit about emails.
Okay.
So
for fall and spring, what is the application? When does the application process start, and then when does it end? Does it have a deadline or not? I just want you to answer this for bachelors and masters.
okay.